Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Sugar Mama's Fireplay, the podcast that ignites your financial journey with inspiring stories and innovative strategies. I am your host, financial planner, Canna Campbell. Now, as you know, Sugar Mama's Fireplay is really about giving you the confidence, the education, the tools, the inspiration, and the strategies to start building financial freedom for yourself. But today I want to turn the tables towards ourselves and our community and talk about something that I myself, and I'm embarrassed and ashamed to admit this, wasn't even aware of. And that is the forgotten, unseen people within our community. Migrants, youth, women, long-term unemployed people, and most importantly, refugees. And what I hope today with our special guest, Andrina Graham from the Dragonfly Network, is that we can actually turn this idea of financial well-being for ourselves, but actually spread this amongst our community so that we are actually not just helping ourselves, but helping each other maximize all of those incredible opportunities around us to create financial freedom for each other, with the benefit flowing on far and wide. Andrina, thank you so much for coming in today. Can you tell me a little bit about the Dragonfly Network and who is part of this forgotten and unseen community?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Canna. This is great and a fantastic platform to be able to talk about this today. The Dragonfly Network was born out of, I think, originally working for Harris Farm 4 years ago. And I don't know if you remember, but unemployment rate was so low at that time. It was 3.8%. It was just after lockdown, and I was the head of recruitment trying to find staff, and it was near impossible. So thought outside the box and went out to various NGOs and not-for-profits and job active places to find people,
Staff.
people that were overlooked or unseen, and created a flow-on of bringing people on site to Harris Farm to interview with the managers and help them find work, which took out a huge amount of stress for a lot of people who have been looking for work for a really long time and who have been rejected due to AI tools disqualifying them. So hundreds of refugees and asylum seekers who had applied online via the various platforms automatically being disqualified. So removing all that stress out of their lives to interview them on the day, hire them straight away was just wonderful.
I've actually got goosebumps and tears in my eyes to think someone who has fought to get out of their country and find safety gets here, and then a computer says no.
Yeah.
And when you're denying someone a job, an ability to work, you take away their rights, you take away their opportunity, you take away their purpose of, and their identity and human rights.
Yeah.
It's just insane. So you've basically unplugged the computer and gone human to human to say, tell me your story. What can you do? Where are your skill sets? How can we get you into a full-time employment?
Absolutely. And that is such a massive goal. And, financial freedom and having a purpose is just so important for them. I heard a fantastic quote the other day saying a refugee is no longer a refugee once they've found employment. And it is huge because they assimilate into society. They can pay their own rent. They can leave their not-for-profit housing. They can buy a present for their child.
They can afford education.
Absolutely.
And education is one of the catalysts for breaking poverty.
Oh, exactly. There are so many things that you can go down a rabbit hole with if you don't have your own financial freedom. And a lot of it is around mental health, domestic violence, drugs and alcohol, all the things that are so huge at the moment and such a talking point is exactly the same for these refugees.
I read the other day that only 6% of refugees actually are able to secure employment within 6 months, and only 23% secure full-time employment within 2 years. That's heartbreaking.
Isn't it? And it just shows that there are so many people out there, refugees, asylum seekers, who would be fantastic for entry-level positions where you've got companies and employers screaming out for reliable staff and staff that can work full-time. You know, there are so many gaps that can be filled, which in turn, as we know, they will then become part of the social economy.
So what can we do? Like, obviously creating awareness is the first thing, but how can we be a part of this change so that these numbers change? Because I know that the work that you're doing is having incredible results in getting people into safe environments where they're not just working, but they're on a great career path, and they're feeling fulfilled, and they're going from strength to strength and adding value to those businesses, and obviously getting some great corporates on board. Like, what can we do, and how can we help make this happen faster?
You know what? All it takes is a conversation. One conversation to have with me. Reach out to me on the Dragonfly Network, Andrina Graham on LinkedIn. Have a conversation with me. You know, you might be head of your corporate right now, CEO, in HR, an employee who just wants to do good and feels like their company's corporate ESG can do better. And you know what? Just wanting to be a good human. Reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. You know, I am very happy to partner with anyone who just wants to have a conversation and, help. The feedback I've been getting from the people I've placed is quite amazing. I've had, Andrina, I promise I won't let you down. My kids don't even say that to me. And I know. So I'm getting these, this has been the best week of Australia of my life working. I mean, it is just amazing. The feel good you feel when you employ someone that really wants to work and will be a hard worker, and changing their trajectory of what it could be, from poverty to pathways to employment. It just is, I can't even tell you. It does give you tingles, and it might sound a bit cliche, but it is true. Yeah. It is wonderful.
It's just that opportunity. All they want is just one opportunity. And the results of what you've been able to do, like, with this awareness and actually talking to corporates and getting them on board and actually looking at their internal policies about going human to human, and obviously seeing this community that is literally forgotten about and unseen is, I think you said 89% of people are employed within 12 months and 93% are within 6 months. And you've been able to double their income by more than 51%, which is incredible.
Yeah, no, it's great. And, there are so many great not-for-profits doing and NGOs doing what they can do. But a lot of people are volunteers. A lot of their caseloads are full. And so it really takes, someone like me as well that's, that is all I'm focusing on. I'm not focusing on settlement, or I'm not focusing on the case management and the mental health, but I'm focusing on the employment part. And I think that is where we can really make some serious change in this space.
Yeah. So we need to be talking about making each other aware and the importance of giving people a crack, an opportunity.
Yeah.
And talking to our employers and saying, all right, what policies do we have in-house? How can we improve them? Getting people in front of you to actually talk about how you can help them with their internal policies as well, so that more and more people are given this opportunity as a refugee, as a migrant, as a long-term unemployed person, as a young unemployed person.
As a woman, who has young kids who can only do your 10 to 2 shifts. I mean, women generally suffer the most. Yeah. So, looking at how you can change your schedules around, how you can change what has been done in the past, to really make a difference. And you will see that it will benefit the organisation as well, making that simple change.
I think when you've got someone who wants to work, they will work so goddamn hard, just to prove their worth. And they're so incredibly grateful. They're the people you want in your team, in your community, in your stratosphere, working together and with common passions, great work ethics, that dedication, that commitment, and that sense of gratitude as well. Like, which we take for granted so easily.
Yeah. And it really does add to the diversity in your organization. It adds so much color.
Yeah.
You know, people have so much value to add and their different stories, and listening to them just makes you realize how lucky we are. And they want to have that same luck.
What made you start this? I mean, I know you said you were at Harris Farm and you realized you needed staff. Like, you haven't just dipped your toe in, you've completely jumped in head first and like taken this project on, like, with, you know, like open arms. Like, how has this changed your life?
Very good question. I probably haven't had enough time, you know, to
I know you've been very busy with this. So.
Well, yeah, it for me, it was a no-brainer. It's just doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I know that this is doing the right thing, and you know, I wanted to be the advocate, and I think it can't just be me, but this is what keeps me going, which is knowing that they need us.
Yeah.
And you know, I want to make sure that not only my kids get educated or are lucky enough to have a career, but everyone who comes to Australia and is on the working visa gets the opportunities that any ordinary Australian should get.
Absolutely. Can you just, as we wrap up today's episode, can you share with me some of the goals behind the Dragonfly Network and what you really want to hear from people and what you want to see from people, and how we can help you beyond those conversations and the awareness?
Great. Yeah. I suppose the goal of my business is to, you know, place one asylum seeker, refugee, you know, placing one person at a time, which that one person leads to 10 people, leads to 20 people, having organisations come on board and partnering with me who actually want to do the same thing in their organisations. It could be corporate, it could be entry-level position, but just making sure that we all have the right policy, which is to ensure that we're giving these cohort an opportunity to get a job and a pathway to employment and careers.
You know, life can be so cruel and it can be so unfair. This is our opportunity to help make the world fairer, help make sure that these opportunities exist and that they continue on blossoming, and that everybody has an opportunity and equality in our world. But we also do this together, helping each other, supporting each other with that awareness, but also with compassion and kindness all the way through.
Yeah, exactly.
Andrina, thank you so much for coming in today. And to all the listeners right now, please reach out to Dreens through the Dragonfly Network, through LinkedIn. I'll make sure I put all of her contact details in the podcast notes. This is our opportunity to speak to our work colleagues about this. This is our opportunity to speak to your internal HR team. Ask them, what are they doing about this? Are they aware? How can we improve it? And of course, put them in direct contact with Andrina, because this is where we can make some really powerful shifts and breakthroughs in breaking poverty and changing the direction of people's lives forever, and being part of a very important flow-on effect where everyone benefits from this. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Brilliant. That's the episode.